the Spa 24 Hours often feels more like a collection of high-intensity sprint races than it does like a 24-hour endurance race. And although the name doesn't quite have the same prestige as the Le Mans, Daytona, or Nürburgring 24 Hours, it is certainly just as challenging to win. We'll join here with Laurens Vanthoor about 9.5 hours ago as he prepares to go back to green flag racing. He's sharing this car with his hypercar teammate Kevin Estre and the Porsche ace Julian Andlauer. Now, despite these three not being a normal pairing behind the wheel of a Porsche, being the pros that they are, they still expect nothing less than victory. And as the field accelerates away at the end of the safety car period, Laurens Vanthoor sets his sights on the number 17 Scherer Audi in front of Kelvin van der Linde. Through the bus stop, there is barely a paper's width between these GT3 cars. And you could be forgiven for thinking that this is the start of a 30-minute sprint race and not 9.5 hours to go in a 24-hour race. And heading into turn 1, the field fans out as everyone looks to gain positions. But I want you to look to the left, because there, flashing by, is the stopped 54 Porsche, which led the field to the restart. And the 17 Scherer Audi is going to look to make a move on this Rova BMW in front. They hurtle side by side into Eau Rouge. The BMW brakes first, allowing the Audi past. A little bit of a wiggle from the BMW, though, and he's going to get a worse run coming out of the exit. And Laurens Vanthoor carries more speed to the corner and more speed onto this critical Kemmel straight, allowing him to get past as they head into Les Combes. He brakes as late as possible into Les Combes, but I want you to look ahead to that orange number 75 Mercedes in front of the Audi, because he is not on the same lap as these cars. And coming out of Les Combes, the Mercedes is going to defend to the inside heading into Bruxelles. The Audi has to brake late around the outside and makes his way past, and that's critical because that allows Kelvin to build a gap between himself and Laurens back here in 92. Now, coming out of No Name, Laurens is going to have to find his way past this Mercedes as well. But heading into Pouhon, he's going to look to the inside. The Mercedes defends to the inside, though, and does not allow Laurens to pass. You might be yelling at your screen right now, but this type of racing is really, really common in the Spa 24 Hours, where oftentimes cars that are a lap down will defend positions as if they were on the same laps as the cars they are defending from. But fortunately, heading into Les Combes on the next lap, the Mercedes pulls to the side and allows Laurens once again to start chasing down the three cars in front of him, which are for position. Heading into Blanchimont, Vanthoor is closing the gap on this Lamborghini up front. But as they go through the corner, Vanthoor gets a huge snap of oversteer, just barely collects the car coming through the corner, almost lost it there, but he brakes as late as possible into Les Combes, hunting down this Lamborghini as the Mercedes up front pits, and you can see that Lamborghini squirming as Frank Pereira puts down the power coming out of the corner onto the front straight. The fight is well and truly on as Pereira defends to the inside into the Lost Source hairpin. Vanthoor trying his best to get a great launch out of the corner to close down this Lamborghini and be able to pass it as they go over Radillon onto the Kemmel straight. Coming over Radillon, Vanthoor has a good run, but just is not able to close the gap on this Lamborghini up front. He's going to flash the lights for good luck, though, and Pereira moves to the middle of the road, dissuading Vanthoor from trying anything in the braking zone into Les Combes. Vanthoor is pushing this Porsche and pushing Pereira in front of him, but just not able to close the gap enough to make a move on this Lamborghini. However, a few laps later, this Lamborghini will pull into the pit lane, unleashing Laurens Vanthoor to chase back the cars up front. But we can see how that fighting has allowed so many other GT3 cars to stick with Laurens Vanthoor and this number 92 Porsche. A few laps later, though, it's now Vanthoor's turn to head into the pits. As he trundles down the pit lane, we can look to the left and see our old friend Kevin Estre preparing to get behind the wheel of this number 92 Porsche. Vanthoor is going to help Estre with his belts, and the crew is going to drop the car, and Estre unleashes this flat six engine as he rejoins the pit lane and then rejoins the race in 10th place. But I want you to look in the rearview mirror as Estre comes over the pit exit around Raidillon, because we see a Mercedes, then a Lamborghini, then another Mercedes, and then a BMW come flashing past, and Estre loses 4 positions in the span of one pit lane exit. As they head into the Losaurus hairpin, the BMW looks to the inside of Gunan and the Mercedes up front. The BMW can't quite make the move, but it's going to look to get a better exit coming out of the Losaurus hairpin and potentially make a move going down the Kemmel Straight. But as they go through Eau Rouge, I want you to see how Estre just seems to understeer behind these other GT3 cars. They have a lot of aero wash. And look to the right-hand side as well, because there comes the 96 Routronic Porsche. And this will be a pass for position for Estre, although an easy one. But the BMW up front is looking to make a pass on this 88 Mercedes as he goes 2 wheels in the grass down the Kemmel and then up the inside into Le Combe to find his way past Gunan in that 88 Mercedes. And Kevin Estre is looking to try to find a way to follow that BMW through. Estre looks to the inside. The Mercedes defends into Bruxelles, getting an early apex. Kevin Estre is close, but just not close enough to make a move on Gunan. Through No Name, Estre is as close as he can be, but that Mercedes gets a good exit. But up front, the Rover BMW pops out and looks to make a move on Marco Mapelli, now behind the wheel of that number 6 K-Pax Lamborghini, and a huge slide from Estre through the entry of Pouin as that Porsche's rear tires just let go on entry. It is an absolute dogfight here, with still over a third of the race left to go. Going down this back straight, Estre is all over Gunan. And as they head into Blanchiment, Estre leaves a little bit of a gap, and that Mercedes just understeers wide through the apex. Estre looks to the inside, Gunan defends the inside, Estre brakes as late as possible around the outside, and they go side by side through the first apex. But through the second apex, Estre gets his nose ahead of Gunan in that Mercedes and is able to make his way past. Now the 92 crew can set their sights once again on this number 6 K-Pax Racing Lamborghini. Heading down the Kemmel Straight, Estre has the run on Marco Mapelli, but just isn't quite close enough as the Lamborghini defends to the inside. A lick of flames from the Lamborghini's exhaust as Mapelli is pushing that Lamborghini as hard as possible. Exhaust pipes glowing red, trying anything he can to keep Estre and this Porsche behind. He's going to defend once again to the inside as Estre looks to make a pass going to Bruxelles. Estre definitely has more pace than this Lamborghini, but just can't seem to find a way past. Through Blanchiment, the Lamborghini just understeers slightly wide. Kevin gets the better run and now looks to the outside of this number 6 Lamborghini. He brakes as late as possible. The Lamborghini brakes later, but it's too late, and Estre is able to make his way past that K-Pax Racing Lamborghini. But there is no time to rest, because the 777 Mercedes of Lukas Stolz is the next car on Estre's list. And heading into Le Combe, Estre has already closed the gap on this 777 car. But coming out of Le Combe, the Mercedes is on the back foot. Estre looks to the inside. The Mercedes doesn't defend, but brakes as late as possible. Slightly too late though, drifts wide of the apex. Estre sticks his nose on the inside of this 777 car. Lukas Stolz defends to the inside through No Name. That's going to compromise the apex, compromises exit as well. Kevin Estre pops to the outside, gets the overlap as they head into Pouin, and sneaks through up into 5th position with 8 hours and 38 minutes to go. We are going to flash ahead though to 1 hour and 50 minutes to go in the race, with Estre chasing down this number 17 Audi in front for 3rd place. As they head to the bus stop, this 17 Audi is stuck behind a lapped car, and that allows Estre to close this gap even further. The race is now on for 3rd position. But although we haven't mentioned it yet in this video, this 17 Audi and 92 Porsche have had some great battles all race long. About 2 hours into the race, Laurens Vanthoor was fighting with the 17 car. There's a bit of a stack up heading into turn 1. Vanthoor is going to send it up the inside of the 17 car, but just barely clips that 38 Ferrari as it took its apex, which allowed the 17 car to once again take its position ahead in second place. A few hours later, Andlauer was fighting with the same 17 car for first position overall. Coming out of Les Combes, he was closing in on this Audi and looks to the inside as they head to Bruxelles. That just momentarily distracted the Audi driver and allows Julian Andlauer to take the position and to take first place overall. So, with an hour and 50 minutes to go, this number 17 Audi is a known quantity for this 92 car. And heading into Les Combes, a lapped Audi is going to lift off and allow the 17 car to slot past. And Estre is going to look to pass this lapped car as quickly as possible so that Nicky Team doesn't have a buffer between himself and the 92 car. However, as they come through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, we are going to see that passing this lapped Audi is not going to be as easy as Kevin Estre would like it to be. They both make a move on this other lapped Audi, but the silver and black car in front defends to the middle of the road. Estre looks to the inside. The Audi turns in though, and they make contact as they head into Les Combes. The Audi is going to completely miss the chicane and hold its track position ahead of the 92 Porsche. Through the bus stop, the Audi gets checked up by a slower BMW, and Estre makes contact to the rear of that lapped Audi, who once again holds position. But into turn 1, Estre looks to the inside. The Audi defends once again. There's a big slide from the Audi on the exit as he is pushing that car as hard as possible, and he is defending as hard as possible from Estre, who shows his nose heading into Eau Rouge, but there is absolutely nothing he can do through there. But as they come over Raidillon, we see a Mercedes exiting the pit lane, and this Mercedes is actually nearly one lap behind Kevin Estre, but will be trying to stay on the same lap as Estre closes in. Heading into Les Combes, the Mercedes yields to two lapped cars, and now Estre has this Mercedes one lap minus 2 cars width behind him. Coming through the exit of Les Combes, the Mercedes gets a bad exit on cold tires, and Estre is able to find his way up the inside. Later in the lap, though, Estre is up behind another lapped car. And if we look in the rearview mirror, we can see that 777 Mercedes move up the outside into the bus stop. They're going to go side by side through the first apex, make a little bit of contact, and go side by side through the second apex as well. That Mercedes now fully alongside of Kevin Estre in this 92 Porsche. Heading down the front straight, that Mercedes is able to hold in the side draft of the Porsche and brakes late going into turn 1. Estre has the apex. The Mercedes tries the over-under, but they make contact through the exit of the corner. Estre able to hold position, but although he doesn't realize it now, that contact causes detrimental damage to the rear of this 92 Porsche. And within a couple of laps, the diffuser will completely fall off. However, miraculously, with 31 minutes left in the race, we see the 17 Scherer Audi up in front, despite the horrible last stint where Estre was stuck behind this lapped traffic and got hit from behind, causing the diffuser to fall off. He has managed to close the gap on Nicky Team, and the fight for the podium is now well and truly on, as Nicky Team is now the one caught behind lap traffic as they go through Les Combes. Team tries to get a better exit than this Porsche up front, but we'll wait and see if the Porsche allows him past. Into Bruxelles, Nicky Team's up the inside, and that Porsche hangs wide, allowing Estre to slide through as well. The gap between the 17 Audi and the 92 Porsche is now non-existent, with half an hour left in the race. Team kicks up dust on the exit of No Name as he is pushing this Audi to the absolute limit, trying to stay ahead. And Estre gets a huge amount of oversteer on entry going through Pouhon. This Porsche, without its rear diffuser, is really lacking rear-end grip now, going through these high-speed corners. But I want you to watch as Estre follows Nicky Team through Eau Rouge and over Raidillon, because as they go onto the Kemmel Straight, we can see that without this rear diffuser, this Porsche actually has a lot more straight line speed than it did previously, and he's going to close the gap on this Audi of Niki Team. And as they go through Le Combe, once again, Niki Team finds himself stuck behind lap traffic, this time another Porsche. Team looks to the inside through Bruxelles. He's going to brake late, but the Porsche brakes later and holds the position on this Audi, who's going to go 2 wheels on the dirt, gets a big slide on the exit, which allows Estre to get the better run coming out of the corner, which becomes the inside for No Name. Estre is now through into third place, but goes 2 wheels on the dirt through the exit. And Niki Team once again slides through back into third place. Estre, ever so briefly, up to a podium position, shuffled back to fourth place once again. As they head into No Name on the next lap, Niki Team goes 2 wheels on the dirt through the exit, pushing that Audi R8 all the way up to and past the limit. He is trying absolutely everything he can to stay ahead of Estre and to hold his podium position. As they go into Eau Rouge, once again, Estre is closing in on Niki Team in front, and we know that as he gets onto the Kemmel straight, Estre has more straight line speed than this Audi R8. But Niki Team is going to start weaving in a straight line to try to break the draft. But heading into Le Combe, Estre looks to the inside. Niki Team brakes late enough, though, is able to hold the position, and despite Kevin Estre's best efforts, he is stuck behind this 17 Audi of Niki Team, who is bending but not cracking under pressure. With 5 minutes to go, it's now do or die time for Kevin Estre in this 92 Porsche. Coming out of La Source, he is once again going to try to close the gap on this Audi. But once again, we see it's just not enough as they come into Le Combe. Estre looks to the apex, but Niki Team doesn't fall for it. But he does slide slightly wide, and Estre now all over that 17 Audi. But nowhere to go through this three-corner complex. Into Bruxelles, Estre looks to the inside once again, but Niki Team holds a tight apex. And as they go through Stavelot, Team extends the gap on the 92 Porsche behind. Kevin Estre ever so slightly closes the gap on the straight though. But as they go through Blanchiment, Estre gets a humongous slide as the rear tires are giving out with that lack of downforce. Estre is still going to brake as late as possible heading into the chicane, but there is just so little rear grip left at this point in the stint. The car is not designed to be driven without a rear diffuser. And as they come across the line with 30 seconds to go, this is going to be the final lap of the race and the final chances for Kevin Estre to haul this broken Porsche onto the podium. Down the hill and into Eau Rouge, we see a line of traffic, but they're going to be kind to Niki Team and Kevin Estre. Estre's line through Eau Rouge is slightly compromised though, and he has to lift out through the compression. That is going to cost him all the way down this long straight, and Niki Team is going to have a nice healthy gap as they head towards Le Combe. Heading into Blanchiment, that gap has remained the same. Estre just hasn't been able to close it on this final lap. He's going to brake as late as possible though, heading into the bus stop. Slightly too late though, nearly collects the number 17 Audi of Niki Team. And as they exit the final corner, Niki Team is going to hold on for a fantastic third place for himself and the entire Scherer team. But for Estre, Vanthoor, and Andlauer, fourth place is going to be a tough pill to swallow. But I would definitely say that not only finishing a race, but finishing fourth and competing for a podium while missing a diffuser is quite the remarkable feat. Anyways, if you guys made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching, and also so much for all the love and support. I really appreciate it. I appreciate and I love you guys, and I will see you next time.